Good day, everyone, and welcome to our group presentation for Logic and Critical Thinking. My name is Teshua Esther, and I am the project coordinator for our group. Today, we will take on a question that is itself an exercise in critical thinking. If critical thinking is so critical to development, why do people, even the educated, find it so difficult to think critically or use it effectively? This is not a simple question. It is a paradox, a contradiction between what we believe should be true and what we observe in reality. Our presentation argues that this difficulty arises from three converging forces: our own cognitive architecture, our educational system, and deep cultural pressures. So, we will walk you through each of these.
My point is the case for critical thinking, and I will make the case for why critical thinking matters to profoundly. Philosopher John Dewey, writing in 1910, argued that reflective thinking is the difference between routine action and genuine understanding. Without it, education produces what he called mere habit, no growth. Robert Ains defined critical thinking as reasonable. Reflective thinking focused on deciding what to believe or do, and it has direct practical value in our everyday life and work. Harvey Siegel goes further. To be truly rational is to be moved by reason. This is the foundation of human dignity and democratic life. Matthew Lipman also showed through his Philosophy for Children program that students are taught to reason together from an early age. Their thinking improves measurable. The case is overwhelming. Societies that neglect critical thinking pay a civic and developmental price.
The name Apiafulina Yabua Senior. My topic is cognitive barriers. I will discuss psychological and cognitive barriers that is very difficult, even for an intelligent people. Daniel Kahneman's framework are essential here. He described two systems of thinking. System 1, which is fast, emotional and automatic. System 2, which is slow, deliberate and rational. Critical thinking is a System 2 activity, but System 1 runs our daily life for good evolutionary reason. Confirmation bias means we seek information that is confirm what we believe, and we are skilled at analyzing pre-existing conclusion. The Dunning-Kruger effective reveals that those with the least competence are often the most overconfident, and the industrial trust effect shows that repeated exposure to false information makes it true. These are not character flaws, they are future of cognitive design.
My name is Opon Anthony Jr. I will address the education and social barrier that undermine critical thinking. Paulo Freire described the banking model of education. Students as empty vessels, teachers as depositors of knowledge. This model rewards accurate reproduction of information, not independent reasoning. Students who question authorities may be penalized. Over years of schooling, intellectual difference becomes habit.
Solomon Asch, conformity experiments showing that individuals will contradict their own senses to align with a group. Social media has created digital conformity machines. Algorithms reinforce existing beliefs, suppress cognitive dissonance, and reward emotion over reason. And Hofstede research shown that in high-power distant cultures, questioning authority itself is a social violation. Critical thinking, which requires exactly this kind of questioning, is systematically disadvantaged in such environments.
Hey everyone, my name is Nkitia from Nechampon, and today I'll be presenting on why education does not guarantee critical thinking. We often believe that the more grades you have, the better you think, but today I'll argue the opposite. Formal education does not reliably produce critical thinkers. In the next few minutes, I'll show you why we confuse ourselves, having knowledge with able to reason. So, the problem is that we confuse acquiring knowledge with developing reason. A person can hold 3 degrees and still remain fundamentally unreflective, very skilled at rationalizing beliefs they have never genuinely examined. Credentialism makes this worse when a degree signals purpose rather than competence. Students optimize for grades but not for understanding. Carol Dweck's research on mindset is illuminating here. When education praises intelligence rather than effort, it cultivates a fixed mindset, fear of challenge, avoidance of difficulties, and resistance to criticizing. These are precisely the dispositive that kills critical thinking and intellectual humility. Knowing that you might be able to run with a newly rewarded system that only breeds confidence and correct ways. So, this brings us to that certificate does not automatically mean that think critically. Thank you.
My name is Karim Yusuf Sanidi, and I will outline the reforms necessary to cultivate genuine critical thinking. Matthew Lehman's philosophy for children creates community of inquiry spaces where students reason together, challenge each other respectfully, and practice intellectual humility. Research confirms measurable gains in reasoning and empathy. Case-based learning and structured academic debate serve similar functions. Institutionally, we must reform assessments. Closed book exams that test memorization will not produce critical thinkers. Assessments must require students to construct arguments, evaluate evidence, and engage with genuine uncertainty. And culturally, we must create environments where changing your mind in response to evidence is celebrated, not ridiculed. Dweck's growth mindset interventions show that even brief psychological reframing can have lasting effects on intellectual engagement.
My name is Albert Akunsivi, and I'm going to explain our argument using real-life examples. Think about university graduates who are unsure about vaccines, or professionals who believe false financial information they see on the media. Many educated people around the world have accepted conspiracy theories, even when there's strong evidence against them. This is not because they lack information. They have smartphones and internet access. The real problem is poor critical thinking, not checking sources carefully, letting personal beliefs influence their judgment, and being uncomfortable with uncertainties. On the positive side, think about scientists who changed their views about COVID-19 when the evidence became available, or journalists who revealed corruption even though it put their career and safety at risk. These are examples of critical thinking in action. It is not easy, but it is important. These examples show that people can think critically, but the challenge is teaching and encouraging this skill more effectively.
My name is Vilitansa, and I'll briefly talk about scholarly sources on academic ground. I will briefly acknowledge the scholarly foundation on our paper. Our argument draws on over 15 peer-reviewed sources, including Kahneman's thinking, Fast and Slow, Poor and Elders Flume. We raise foundational philosophy of education, Ennis on critical thinking, Seagal origin argument, Lippmann's pedagogical research, and Dweck mindset psychology. We have followed APA referring throughout. These sources were selected not to decorate our argument, but to ground it. Each one contributes a distinct perspective on why critical thinking is essential and
To each of these.
My name is Deborah Barty. I will say the theoretical foundation, critical thinking, as Paul and Eddie, an elder defined it, is the intellectual evaluate information, believe in about being negative or skeptical of everything. It is about being thoughtful, rigorous, and honest with ourselves. The paradox is this: we celebrate critical thinking in schools, in businesses, in politics, and yet we see confrontation basis in academics. Propaganda consumed by graduates and experts has now reaching absorbs conclusion. Why? Because nowhere about critical thinking and actual practice. It is a two very different paper interrogates exactly this gap.
I am a Chanko Isaac, and I'm here to close our presentation. The paradox we began with, why critical thinking is so difficult even for the educators, turns out to be entirely explicable, even if the explanation is uncomfortable. Not naturally rational animals, we are rationalizing animals, very good at constructing reasons for what we already believe. At the educational level, by and large, do not correct this, but they reinforce it. But this is not a cancer of despair. It is a precise diagnosis that points towards precise cures. Teach thinking as a practice, not a performance. Assessing reasons, not recall. Build cultures that reward intellectual honesty over confidence entity. These changes are possible. The same intellectual courage of this assignment asks us to demonstrate. Thank you for watching. We welcome your questions and reflections.